Let's practice our techniques for factoring looking at these next four. You'll notice they all look pretty similar with a bunch of 5s and 6s. One of the keys to getting good at factoring is being very careful with positive and negative signs. So here, let's look at our first one, x squared plus 5x plus 6. So it starts with an x squared, so we know when we're factoring we can put an x at the beginning of each group. So now we need to think, what can we multiply to get a positive 6 that's going to add up to a positive 5? So first, let's go over here to the side. Think of what we could multiply to get a positive 6. Well, there'd be 1 times 6 or 2 times 3. Now, out of those pairs, the one that would add up to a positive 5, 2 and 3. So factoring this one, we would have x plus 2 times x plus 3, like that. Let's take a look at the next one, x squared minus 5x minus 6. So we're still factoring with an x at the beginning. This time, though, it's a negative 6. So we want to multiply to be a negative 6. Remember, when your last number there is negative, you need to put in a minus sign, but only one. So putting a minus sign, for example, in front of the 2, that wouldn't work because then the pair would add up to positive 1. Putting a minus sign in front of the 3, that doesn't work because then the pair would add up to a negative 1. Whoops. Putting a minus in front of the 1, that would make the pair add up to positive 5, which is close, but we want it to add up to a negative 5. So here, we're going to put a minus right there in front of the 6. Now, 1 plus negative 6, that would be a minus 5. One great thing about factoring is checking it is something we've already talked about. You just multiply. If we did the outside and inside parts of the FOIL method here to check our work, we would have negative 6x plus 1x, which is negative 5x. So to check your work for factoring, do the outside and inside. This is sort of a shortcut for checking, but do the outside and inside parts of the FOIL method and make sure it adds up to that middle term. For example, in that previous one, we would do 3x plus 2x, it's a positive 5x. So let's try 2 more here. Our next one, we have x squared plus 5x minus 6. So we're factoring something that starts with 1x squared. We know we're going to have x and x. We wanted to multiply to be a negative 6, but we wanted to add up to a positive 5. Well, we had this one a minute ago, actually. If we take that negative sign and put it with the 1, then that pair, negative 1 and 6, that adds up to a positive 5. So that's what we want. X minus 1 times x plus 6, like that. All right, so now let's take a look at our last one there. X squared minus 5x plus 6. So again, factoring a trinomial that starts with 1x squared. We're going to put an x at the beginning of each group because x times x is x squared. Multiplying to be a positive 6 could be 1 and 6 or 2 and 3. We want them to add up to a negative 5. 1 and 6 adds up to 7. We know that's not going to work. 2 and 3 would add up to a positive 5. That's the opposite of what we want. Now, if we want them to multiply to be a positive 6 but add up to a negative 5, you could make them both negative. A negative 2 times a negative 3, negative times negative would make it a positive 6, but now they will add up to a negative 5. So factoring trinomials, you really want to practice it enough so that you can be very good at dealing with all the positive and negative signs.